Greetings, friends. Welcome back to another episode of Dreamscapes. Today we have our friend Kai Smit from the Netherlands. I'm going to bungle that every time I try to say it. He is a brain hemorrhage survivor and now public speaker. We're going to get back to him in 2 seconds. If you would, please, would you kindly like, share, and subscribe? Tell your friends. Always need more volunteer dreamers. 13 books of historical dream literature. Links below. Direct donations, t-shirt, coffee mug, all that good stuff. That's the housekeeping. Back to Kai. I also did want to mention you've got a donation link for folks. They can go to, it'll also be in the description below, paypal.me/Kai. That's Kaj. N as in Nicholas, Smit, S-M-I-T, Kai N. Smit. Again, it'll be in the description below there. But Kai, welcome and thank you for talking with me. I appreciate your time.
Thank you for allowing me to be here.
Very nice. So brain hemorrhage, that is serious. This is when you reached out to me, you said you had this experience and you wanted to share it with people, and I'm happy to give you a platform for them to do that. What happened to you, man?
I had 2 brain hemorrhages at the age of 18.
Jesus.
And, well, let's just say that people always say you need to eat healthy, exercise, don't smoke, don't do drugs, don't drink. I did it all. I still got them. So, if I were to give anyone advice, just live your life like there's no tomorrow. And just say, fuck it, let's do it.
Fair enough. Yeah. It's hard to know. Well, it reminds me of that guy, this kind of famous guy in America, Jim Fixx. He was a big health nut guy, I think in the 70s or something. Big into jogging and health and fitness. And then one day he was out jogging, I think hit by a bus. It can happen any day.
Yeah.
You know, you definitely
got to live your life. It can happen any day, yeah. That's true. Just seize every opportunity you've got. Don't waste it. There are 3 moments you can do stuff, and 2 aren't possible. 1 is tomorrow and 1 is yesterday. So today is the time you should do stuff.
Yeah, and if you wait till tomorrow may never come. There's a lot of people who say on their deathbed they don't regret a lot of the things they did. They mostly regret things they wanted to do but were afraid to attempt. They thought they would fail. They thought people would laugh at them.
I've also got an example because of that. That let's say you've got the people around your deathbed that other people can't see are your lost potentials.
Oh.
And everyone that's standing there is a potential that you didn't exercise or didn't complete to the fullest. How many people are going to stand next to your deathbed?
Yeah. That's one case where you would want to die alone, so to speak, not have those lost potential regrets. Yeah. For sure.
Well, if you die alone, you succeeded in everything and you accomplished every lost potential or everything. So
yeah,
that's pretty spectacular.
It would be in that sense. Yeah. So when did you have your first brain hemorrhage? You said it was 18. What was that experience like? What happened to you?
Well, I had 2 at the same time.
Oh, wow. Double whammy.
So double whammy. I got double hit.
Yeah.
So that was the 12th of May, 2021.
Wow, very recent.
Last year, yeah.
Where were you at when that hit you? What were you doing?
I was at home working out. So
oh wow, yeah.
I was studying for my high school exams to get into university, and I suddenly had a huge headache when I was working out. I just thought, okay, this is normal. I am studying from 8 a.m. until 8 p.m. This has to be me overexerting myself or just overstudying. So I didn't think anything of it until I started to get to lose vision in my right eye, and when I had a headache that was healing. So that's when I went inside. That's when I went inside. I told my mother, okay, if you stand to the right of me, I can't see you. If you stand to the left of me, I can see you. So they thought, okay, this isn't good. So they called my neighbor, who's a doctor, fortunately. Well, he came by, he ran some tests, even tests for a brain hemorrhage. I had none of the symptoms.
Wow.
And what are those symptoms, you may ask?
Yeah.
Tingling sensation in your limbs. Paralysis in your face, so your face is hanging. impaired speech, and motor dysfunction. So you can't move your right arm, can't move your left arm, stuff like that.
Wow.
So if any of the listeners or you yourself have any of those symptoms at the same time, so tingling sensation, impaired speech, face paralysis, and losing motor functions, call 911, call the emergency services.
Yeah.
You are in very big trouble.
Is this, suddenly my medical knowledge is failing me. Is a brain hemorrhage basically the same as a stroke? Is that what they call it? A stroke?
No. A stroke is where blood is clogged. So your blood vessel is clogged by blood.
Gotcha.
A brain hemorrhage is
hemorrhage.
where it just bleeds. It goes everywhere. The blood vessel is ruptured.
Either way, not good.
Just pours out. Not good either way, no.
For sure. Gotcha. So they didn't catch the first brain hemorrhage because
I already had 2 at that point.
You'd already had 2 at that point. Okay. So did you end up just going to bed that night and waking up the next day, or
no? If I'd done that, I would have been dead.
Yeah.
He told me, my doctor told me, or my neighbor told me, you have a migraine. Go take some rest, go upstairs, lie in bed. Everything is going to be okay. Because I had none of the symptoms that were commonly known as a brain hemorrhage. How could he think otherwise? So, I didn't do that because I couldn't. Everything was overstimulating my brain. So my mother tried to close the curtains because she knew, okay, with migraine, you don't need light, you don't need sounds.
Yeah.
So she tried to close the curtains. I screamed in agony because we have those strings with balls attached to it, so it makes a rattling sound. I was screaming in agony.
It's one of my many cats. Sorry.
Yeah, no worries.
Go ahead.
And then I don't remember anything. Everything suddenly went black.
Oh.
But my parents told me I had an epileptic attack. In which case, before I had the epileptic attack, damn, that's not a hard word. And before I had the epileptic attack, I had a tingling sensation in my limbs. I told my parents, okay, now I feel tingling.
Gotcha.
So they knew, okay, this isn't right. The doctor just told us that if you have a tingling sensation, that's not good.
Yeah.
So they were already on high alert. Then I had the epileptic attack. They immediately called the emergency services.
And they brought
I was rushed to the hospital.
Yeah.
Brought an ambulance, was rushed to the hospital, performed emergency surgery on my head by a doctor who was flown in by helicopter.
Wow.
And that's when they told my parents, okay, it isn't looking good. He has a 5% chance of surviving the night. And if he does, we don't know in what kind of state he will survive.
Wow. So you were almost dead right then and there, huh?
Yeah. Right then and there, yeah.
Wow. Well, 5% chance. That's a 1 in 20. I don't know if you ever played the games where you got those 20-sided dice. Rolling a 20 on a 20-sided dice. It's not likely.
It's actually slimmer because I got a 95% chance of becoming brain dead if I did survive the night.
Right.
So that's a 0.25%.
Yeah.
That's a 0.25% chance.
Well, but at the very least, I mean, here you are today. So you're able to kind of, communicate and get around and operate a computer, all kinds of things where you could have just been a vegetable, unfortunately.
I was a vegetable, actually.
For a minute. So, yeah, what was the next? Now, you also contacted me about this waking vision experience. Did that happen during this?
Well, no, it actually suddenly everything went black.
Yeah.
And for me, it was mere seconds. In real time, it was 2 months. So from the 12th of May until the 16th of July, I can't remember anything.
Were you comatose during that whole time, or were you starting to interact, but it wasn't making an impression in your memory?
The first month I was in the hospital, I can't remember anything because I was out. Nothing came in, nothing came out.
Gotcha.
Then the second month, they thought I was awake, but I wasn't awake. I was still looking through everyone. I was not speaking, not moving, not doing anything. And then I awoke, but then I couldn't move, couldn't speak, was in a strange place with people I didn't know.
Mm.
And that was when I awoke. So for me, it was mere seconds.
Yeah.
Everything suddenly went black. And then I awoke, and I couldn't move, couldn't speak, was in a strange place with people I didn't know.
Wow. How did they figure out that you were awake? Were you starting able to move your eyes and look around and like acknowledge in some way what was
No, because
happening around you?
I started to make more improvements, and eventually I
Gotcha.
started to speak. So I could say yes and no. And I was doing my thumbs up was yes. My thumbs in between my fingers was no.
Interesting.
Because this was,
Instead of down. Yeah.
yeah,
Thumb.
I did this, but this was way too hard. This is
That
a
yeah.
very small, and this is very big.
Yeah,
So
people don't
this is
realize there's a lot
way,
of muscles involved in that. And if you've got no
yeah,
coordination, I mean, it's one thing to be able to go from not being able to move to you can curl your hand and stick your thumb up. That's it's a big thing. And then to just get them
mhm,
in here, is a lot easier than a gross motor movement. Yeah.
yeah. Fortunately, it was my right side, so my right side wasn't damaged at all. But I
Okay.
had to learn how to move it again because, yeah, I didn't move it for 2 months. So
Yeah.
my brain was kind of like, okay, which one is right again, and where do we put this?
Yeah.
So, and on my left side, it was okay. Where do we put this? This is chaotic. Everything is damaged. We don't know where jack shit is. So, yeah. But then I thought, okay, I'm a healthy young guy. I'm 18. I worked out 4 to 6 times a week. Didn't smoke, didn't drink, didn't use drugs. Why am I a vegetable? And where am I?
Yeah. What do
So
you
I thought, okay,
go ahead?
yeah, go ahead. Okay, so
Also,
I thought this has to be a dream
oh, yeah.
because I I couldn't remember anything that had happened. Suddenly went black and I woke. Okay, that's just like dreaming. You goes black and you wake up.
For sure.
So
Yeah. Or rather, there's an experience a lot of people have where we close our eyes and our thoughts drift and we think about stuff, and
mhm,
no one actually experiences the moment of falling asleep. We feel
no,
tired and we feel our thoughts
no,
slow down, but that moment of passing into sleep, and then that's the sleep experience for most people is I'm laying in bed, now I'm dreaming. And most people don't realize it's a dream, but you just kind of wake up in your own subconscious while you're
yeah.
passed out. So it'd be very
So
natural to
I
assume
had
that. Yeah.
that. So I had that. I had small dreams before I awoke. Well, I awoke,
Yeah.
and then I just suddenly I awoke in the real world, but I still thought, okay, this is the main dream,
Yeah. Be a very
and
natural
I
assumption.
it wasn't. And what made me think it was a dream was because, let's say I were to put my earbuds case, I put it to the right of me, suddenly it was teleported to the left
Mm,
because I was asleep. My short-term memory was very bad
yeah.
because that's one of the things that happens when you have brain damage. That your short-term memory isn't as good, your long-term memory isn't as good. So I couldn't remember putting it on the table. I couldn't remember putting it to the left of me. Or I was sleeping and some of the nurses put it on the table or put it to the left of me. In
Hmm.
which case I couldn't remember because I put it to the right and they put it to the left of me.
Yeah.
But I thought everything is teleporting. So this has to be fake because I just put it here and now it's there.
Yeah. It's a very common experience in dreams too. This, very often bizarre things happen. You teleport yourself from one scenario
Mhm.
to another, or you cover,
I also did that.
suddenly you're in a place hundreds or thousands of miles from where you live. And most of the
Yeah.
time, those experiences we have are all accepted as perfectly normal, no matter how bizarre it is. It's very uncommon
Yeah.
actually for people to be lucid enough to say, this is weird. This doesn't make any sense. But so I was going to ask you if you'd had experience with lucid dreams before, where you were kind of able to be
Uh, I
aware that you were
I
dreaming.
I tried it. I just couldn't make it work.
Gotcha.
I
Didn't
definitely want to try it again.
didn't come
Yeah,
naturally to you.
well, it didn't come naturally. So I thought, okay, this has to be a lucid dream. Or more specific, have you ever seen the movie Inception?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, well, you're the first one who's actually seen it. Well, I do assume that most people who are listening to the podcast have seen Inception. If not, it's about Leonardo DiCaprio who enters someone else's dream, and he has a wooden toy or a wooden spinner. In
Little
which
top.
case, if it keeps spinning, he knows he's in a dream. If it falls over, he knows he's not in a dream. Leonardo DiCaprio has a wife who also has this thing which keeps going around or something, and eventually she still thinks she's in a dream when she's in reality. And that's the
Yeah.
exact same experience I had.
They left that movie very open-ended.
Yeah.
They very much told us that this is how he's able to tell what's real and what's not. Am I still dreaming? Am I in a dream within a dream? But then at the very end of the movie, spoilers, turn it off for like 30 seconds if you don't want to know how it ends, but it's like 10, 15 years old at this point. He leaves the top spinning on the counter and he walks away. Like I'm happy where I'm at. I don't even care if this is a dream anymore. Kind of implying that. And the top wiggles like it might fall over, but it keeps spinning, fade to black.
But it keeps spinning.
We never know. Is he still in a dream or not? No. I love that they left that part of the genius of Christopher Nolan, the filmmaker, leaving that open-ended question. But it's fascinating. I love these discussions too, where it's like, there's a lot of experiences we have in life. I don't know if anyone's ever, or maybe you have, but to describe for the audience, you lose your breath. This happened to me when I got, sometimes when I laugh too much, I can laugh myself into a head rush and kind of black out for a second. But anyone who's ever blacked out, the first time I ever remember it was taking a martial arts class. And my instructor was like, who wants to feel what it's like to be choked out, to have a neck hold applied and have your carotid cut off? In about 7 seconds, everything fades to black. And then there's the experience of waking up from it. And you're woozy and wobbly and you can't hear or see or think. And then everything kind of slowly sharpens up and you remember, oh, I was just choked out. I was unconscious for a moment. Now it makes sense. But there's that experience of coming out of it. And I got to imagine there's something similar in your experience too, where it was like an extended period of coming out of a blackout, where nothing's making sense. Things are, moving around. It's hard to speak or think clearly. Did you find commonality in that experience, or am I way off? Feel free.
No, it's exactly that.
Okay.
And what I also had, because I thought it was a dream, was because I could predict everyone's movements. So I thought, okay, I can predict everything, so it has to be in my mind, because otherwise, how can I predict everything?
Yeah.
And because I would ask the nurses, because I couldn't get myself a bottle of water, I would ask the nurses, hey, can you get me a bottle of water? They would say, yeah, in 5 minutes, I'm busy, I'll be back. Every time, they would say, I'll be back, 5 minutes, 5 minutes, 5 minutes. So I just thought, okay, if I ask a bottle of water now, I'll get it in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And, but I could do that with everyone, the therapist, my neurotherapist, my physical therapist, vocal, everyone, because they all treated me the same. And so I thought, okay, this has to be a dream, because how can I so specifically predict what everyone's going to do? And if I had it wrong, I thought, okay, well, this is my subconscious mixing it up a bit.
So how long did that recovery process last until you were more functional? How much function did you regain? I mean, it's a whole fascinating process.
I regained all function, everything. And that's kind of a miracle, actually, because I had a 0.25% chance of even surviving and not being brain dead.
Yeah.
But on top of that, I had so much brain damage that for even if medical personnel is watching or listening, my brain hemorrhage in the back of my head was 2 inches of blood.
Wow. That's a large.
That's
I mean, the brain is relatively big, but like a 2-inch chunk of even something that big it's a huge portion.
there was a pool of blood just pressing on my brain, which caused the second one. So we think that the one in the back built up so much pressure that one on the left side outside of my brain, their blood vessel also burst.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. So it affected two separate areas, kind of one on the back and one closer to the side. Did they give you a specific? Go ahead.
Well, one on the outside of my head, one on the inside of my head, so in the brain.
Gotcha. So only one of them was actually inside the skull, pressing against the brain.
Well, they were both inside the skull.
Gotcha.
But you've got the brain, and then you've got inside of the brain.
But one was inside the brain, and then one on the surface. Okay.
Yeah, one on the surface.
Gotcha. Did they
tell you? The
left
one was on the surface.
Did they tell you specifically what areas it affected in terms of motor, speech, memory?
Yeah. So they thought I was going blind because in the back of your head, that's where your vision is located.
Mm-hmm.
And on the left side of your brain, your movements are crossed. So the right side of your brain is for the left side of your body to move, and the left side of your brain is for your right side of your body.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And because the blood was on the left side, it pressed my right side against the skull, which affected my motor function on the left side. This side.
So do you still have some residual effects on your left side? It's not 100%, or?
Not because of the one on the left, but one inside of my brain. That's the one that really hit me. Because do you know the Parkinson's disease?
Yes.
I have Parkinsonism, which means I have the symptoms of the disease of Parkinson, but I don't have Parkinson.
Gotcha.
In which,
fair enough. Yeah.
Probably in a few minutes, my alarm is going to set off, and I need to take a dopamine pill.
Okay. Fair enough. Yeah, we can roll with that and just take it on camera if you want to, or not. Up to
you. That's actually it always happens during podcasts, and it just gives me an intro into the dopamine side of things.
Sure.
So
yeah.
But
and having worked in emergency psychiatric, previous in life, almost 20 years, came across a lot of folks who had Parkinson's biologically, and then a lot of people who kind of acquired Parkinson's-like symptoms from a lifelong use of some older psychiatric medications. And actually, the treatment for that is some of the newer psychiatric medications helps reduce some of the worst symptoms of Parkinson's, but it is kind of a progressive degenerative type of thing. Is it that way for you, where it's going to continue to get worse, or it's kind of you've only got some of the effects, but it's stable?
I have a stiffness that I don't make dopamine, and I don't store it anymore.
Oh wow!
In which case, because nothing is wrong. How many pills a day do you think I need to take?
I would say 4 individual pills 4 times a day.
16 pills.
Holy shit! I was way off. I thought 4 was a lot.
16 pills 11 times a day.
Wow. And is that almost like once an hour to just kind of keep it fresh?
Once every 1.5 hours.
Wow. That's pretty amazing. Are you obligated to wake up in the middle of the night to keep taking them, or you can just kind of sleep and take one in the morning?
Well, I can sleep, and I do have to sleep, because one of the occurring symptoms with dopamine or the dopamine pills that I take is sleep, that you fall asleep suddenly.
Gotcha.
Or sleeplessness.
Is that
no.
Narcolepsy?
Drowsiness. Or you're narcoleptic, yeah. You tend to fall asleep, or you're sleepy and all that kind of stuff.
Gotcha.
But I got sleeplessness. So I am fully awake when I take them.
Gotcha. So then actually when you lay off taking them for the night, then you go to sleep.
Then I go to sleep, yeah.
Okay. So this, where did your kind of waking dream, have we been discussing it this whole time, or was there another separate waking dream experience where you were walking around?
No, there's a separate waking dream.
Gotcha.
That's when the first dream ended.
Okay.
And that's how the first dream ended. Was I could move my right thumb again, and I could text my friends, in which I thought, okay, if I text them, hey, how are you doing? They would text back, hey, Kai, how are you doing? But they said, holy shit, Kai, what happened to you? Are you alive? What can you do?
Yeah, you just kind of
Okay,
disappeared. Yeah.
I knew, okay, this has to be real because this I can't think of. Then the other one was a friend of the family came by and he had a stroke when he was 14 in Canada.
Okay.
He also lives in the Netherlands and he knew, okay, this has to be a dream when it was happening. But he knew, okay, if I arrive back into the Netherlands, it has to be real. So I moved rehabilitation centers from one which is normal therapy for elderly young people who have born with brain damage and all that kind of stuff. And then I went to a specialized one where it's only young people between the ages of 15 and 35,
Okay.
and that are specialized in not born with brain damage.
Gotcha. Okay.
So when I knew, okay, he said to me, when you arrive at a different place, you know it's real. So I heard, okay, you're going to the Daan Centrum in Woerden. Woerden is the place, Daan Centrum is a name. And I knew, okay, this has to be fake because I'm hearing it for weeks and I'm not going anywhere. Until I eventually went there. And they said, okay, this is the place we were talking about. Okay, I just remembered what the friend of the family said. This has to be real. And medication, talking to my friends again, knowing that I couldn't predict their movements.
Okay. So when did the kind of second waking dream experience happen to you?
That happened a few months after that, when I was learning to walk again. But I couldn't walk. I was just still 24/7 in a wheelchair. It was hard for me to walk. But then I slept, I dreamt, and suddenly I was back into my old bed. I woke up, I thought, okay, this has to be reality, right? I woke up, I could move, I could walk again. I was walking my dog, and I just felt very natural.
So that was an actual nocturnal dream of
That was an actual nocturnal dream. Yeah.
and then you had another waking dream after that?
No. I had one waking dream that was the one in the beginning, the first 6 weeks.
Oh,
Then
okay.
I had the nocturnal dream a few months after that.
Okay.
And in the waking dream, this is going to get dark. I wanted to commit suicide, just like the wife of Leonardo DiCaprio in the movie. Spoiler alert.
Gotcha. Now, did that? Do you think that reference came to you from the movie, or you thought of it later? Like, had you already seen the movie at that point?
I had seen the movie a dozen times. It's one of my favorite movies.
It's really good, really well done. Yeah.
It's really So I thought, okay, because I thought, okay, I have to remember a full week of therapy. I remembered that because my memory was hazy, so I remembered Wednesday. Suddenly it was Sunday. Suddenly it was Thursday. So I didn't remember a full week. So I thought, okay, I have to remember a full week in order to wake up. I remembered the full week. I didn't wake up. And just to be clear, I slept 12 hours a day. Because every time I had the opportunity, every chance I could get, I would sleep in order to wake up. I thought, okay, if I go to bed again, maybe I can wake up and it's reality again.
Yeah, it's probably a very strong desire to like believe none of this is real. This isn't happening to me. This has got to be something else. So during that kind of waking dream experience that you had, where you fantasized that you had the ability or that the desire to escape from your condition by suicide was there. What was, you were walking around in that or going around town or something? The description you said, I'm trying to get to that.
Walking around. So let's put it into chronological order. From May until the end of July, I had from the beginning of August, I had the nocturnal dream, so the wake dream, I mean.
Yeah.
And then, let's say from November until December, okay, there we go.
Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
From let's say October until November, that's when I had real sleeping dream, because that time I was giving myself 120% for every therapy,
Hmm.
I was a happy-go-lucky guy again, and I thought, okay, I want to achieve this goal. And my brain was so focused on walking again that I think it made me dream and let me see, okay, you can walk again. Here you go.
Maybe so. Yeah. I mean, that would be a very realistic interpretation of the dream. Is some dreams are just very directly aspirational. Here is what I want, and I'm going to show myself what it looks like to receive what I want, just to enjoy the experience. Or there's one theory that it's like, just because we want to. I mean, why do we daydream about going on vacation and what we'll do when we're there? Sometimes we do that
Yeah.
in our sleep, but part of it may also be not just aspirational, but inspirational. Look at what you can do. Look at what you believe is possible. But why don't we jump into that? Why don't you tell me the story of your nocturnal dream, as much detail as you can remember, and then we'll see if there's
hmm
more in there, or if we're on the right track.
Well, I woke up and I was in my bed, and suddenly I was looking around like, okay, I'm not in the hospital anymore. Where am I? I flipped my blanket off of me and I thought, okay, well, let's give it a try. So I stood up and I could suddenly walk again. In which case, it was not, it was natural like I'd done before. And well, it just felt so real. I went down the stairs, I said hi to everyone, I petted my dogs, grabbed the leash, went for a walk with them. Then it felt so real. And I had those experiences a couple more times actually. When I woke, and then I thought, okay, I want to have this dream again. I want to have this dream again. So I think a few weeks later, I had the same dream again, but then differently. Then I went somewhere else, but I could walk again.
Well, which instance of that kind of dream would you want to focus on, dude? Is there one you remember most clearly? Is it the first one? Uh,
First one, yeah, first one.
First one, definitely. And that was the
I
first
can
one, is
remember
you
that.
woke up in bed, you're looking around, you're not in the hospital anymore, and then you walk downstairs.
Mhm.
Did anything else happen? Those are the broad strokes. We'll get into more details, but was there any other part of that dream that you could remember? Anything happened during the dog walking or after?
Uh, well, I saw some people I knew, so I waved at them. They waved at me, and I was just putting in my earbuds, like I always done before, and was just listening to music, going for a walk, uh, feeling the breeze on my face, and I could feel the vibrations in my legs, which I knew, okay, this is great, this is amazing, because when you walk, you feel vibrations in your legs.
Yeah, with
Those
every
vibrations I
step,
felt. With every step, I felt those
contact with the
vibrations.
ground.
So yeah, so that felt wonderful
Oh
because
yeah,
I hadn't done that for like 6 months or so.
and you probably had. Did you have a decreased sensation in your skin, sense of touch, sense of pressure?
Nope,
None of that.
nothing.
Okay. I was thinking
So I
about
could
go
go ahead.
I was thinking about how sometimes you sit in the wrong position, your leg falls asleep, and then you get up and you can't walk on it. Like, you can put
Yeah,
pressure on it, but
yeah,
you can't feel it very well. The sense of pressure and um it's pressure, it's touch. Like, the sense of touch is numb. That's why we call it
hmm
going numb. But also, you can't control the muscles. The leg being dead, at the nerve level, is you can't make your ankle flex. You can't put weight on it and have your thigh tense to hold yourself upright. So we end up, walking around like a gimp, until our leg comes back to life. We get the sensation back. We
yeah,
get that muscular control back. I wondered how much of that
yeah.
was in your experience, or if it was nothing like that at all.
Well, it was nothing like it suddenly it didn't work and I had to move it again to work. It worked perfectly. First step I took, and I could feel it. I was jumping around. I
Well,
go,
this was in your
okay,
dream.
this was in the dream, yeah.
How about in real life? Was there a sense of Was that your experience of getting your muscle control back, loss of sensation, or um,
Well, that's actually pretty funny
yeah?
because 6 months I was so stiff because of the Parkinson
Oh yeah,
symptoms that
yeah, rigid.
that
Yeah,
I couldn't walk, I couldn't do anything, and then the medication hit and it worked. So the first week I could move my left arm again.
gotcha.
Second week I spoke normal again, well with more intonation, in more vocal range, and more putting the emphasis on a word.
Hmm.
And the third week I could walk again. So six
Okay.
months of doing nothing or little improvements. I did make improvements, but were little, very little.
Yeah,
And suddenly everything clicked. It just worked.
very cool. Yeah, and it takes that kind of dedication and focus to come back from something like that. There's a lot of people that would give up and not put in the work, and
Yeah,
you know, even if the even if it's going to be difficult, but the potential is small, doing nothing means nothing's going to happen. You got to at
yeah,
least give it everything you can and see what happens. And probably there's going to be like,
yeah.
it's like I have a very, what I call a very steep learning curve. People have
Mhm.
recommended different streaming software than the one I'm using right now. I'm like, I spent the last year of my life figuring out how to work this thing. Starting a new
Yeah,
one, I got to start all over. So for me, the steep learning curve is like, I got nothing, 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 a little more, very little. I got it. And just one day, like you're
yeah,
describing, it all comes together. And I'm like, I suddenly know what I'm doing. I can operate this thing. I can, move
yeah.
my body properly again. It's the same way with anything I do. So,
Yeah, well, I tend to use the metaphor of a flowing river,
mm,
and you have a dam,
yeah,
because I have so much brain damage that if I got medication, because some people may think it's a miracle drug,
mm,
the dopamine, but if I had gotten the medication when I woke, I still wouldn't be able to walk because the new pathways in my brain were still repairing itself and were still making itself from a dirt road into a highway.
you got to reroute around the
And
damage. Yeah.
mhm,
And it's amazing that we
and
can, but it is possible most of the
yeah,
time.
it's possible. If your brain is like a supercomputer, and your self-talk is how the way it programs itself.
Hmm.
So if you tell yourself you can't remember names, the next time you meet someone you can't remember their name. But if you do tell yourself I can remember everyone's name, see what's going to happen. You remember everyone's name.
That can work depending on,
So
yeah,
positive thinking is key.
for
If you're
sure.
going to think negatively, nothing is going to work.
Yep.
And so I kept thinking positively, and in those 6 months, I was filling up the water reserves in front of the dam with a bucket,
Mm.
and it was filled up to the brim. Suddenly, the dam disappeared because of the medication, and the water flowed.
Yeah. It very often takes a combination of things. I mean, you've got to have the positive mental attitude and dedication to stay with it and all the stuff inside your own head. Then you got to also have people to help you with the physical side of things. Uh, Gradually work you up towards more and more difficult things to get that goal of
Yeah,
function back. And sometimes the pharmaceutical interventions of like, hey, looks like your brain's not making dopamine anymore. We can give you dopamine pills and make that work for you. You get
hmm,
all three of those things together, and then there's a really good chance you can make something happen. So I'm glad it worked for you. That's some people I'm
yeah.
sure that they've had worse experiences of it and they didn't wake up or they never walked again. That kind of stuff.
Well, it could be, but I was giving myself 120% for every therapy. I had
Nice.
therapy from 8 a.m. until 5 p.m. every
Mm,
day, and it was physical, intense therapy.
yeah.
So, and my therapists were thinking, okay, why isn't he improving? He's 18, ambition to the max,
Yeah.
motivation is everywhere. Why isn't he improving? So, they thought I was stiff because I hadn't moved my muscles. So one of the physical therapists came to my bed in the morning and she tried to move my muscles with her own arms and stuff to make it loose.
Yeah.
And just to think about it, I had a lack of dopamine. I didn't have any dopamine in me, and dopamine is called the happy drug.
Hmm.
And I was laughing, making jokes. I was saying, "Yeah, I'm stiff, right? I'm every morning." So I was making jokes. I was laughing, and she thought, how in God's name is this guy laughing? He can't move anything. He's very stiff. He's not improving. How is he so happy? And I was happy because I knew I'm in the right place. I am where I'm supposed to be. They can help me here, and this is real. And if I want to stay or get anywhere, I have to think positive again.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's possible this sequence of dreams you were having helped maintain that positivity or motivation. But
Yeah.
let's see what else we can find out in there, because there's usually more than people think. The first time you remember having one of these dreams was you woke up back in your normal bed at home.
Mhm.
And what was your experience of waking up in the bed like? What did you see around you? Was it your standard room, or was there anything different about it?
No, it was my standard room, just like I remembered.
Same
Was
same as in real
clothes
life.
everywhere because my clothes are always everywhere.
Okay.
And I just knew, okay, I need to clean this up, but not right now because I'm going to walk. Then I opened the door. It was midday, like let's say 11 a.m. So I thought it was a Saturday because I always wake up at like around 11 a.m. And I was walking downstairs.
I don't want to stop you, but I do want to go a little bit slower on each of the discrete pieces. You said something about peeling the
Mhm.
blanket back. Same blanket, nothing different about that.
Nothing different about it. That's
Wasn't
why I
wasn't
thought, okay,
wasn't a
this
heavier
has to
blanket or
be.
a lighter blanket or a sheet or no
No,
blanket. It gotcha.
everything was the same as it was in reality.
Gotcha. And then you hopped out of bed. What was that experience like of getting out of bed? What were you thinking when that was happening? Um,
I thought, okay, well, this is weird. I can move my left leg again. And this is amazing. I want to do this again. So I was on the side of my bed. I thought, okay, I'm going to stand up now
so there
because I
was
could move.
so there was kind of an experience of this is unusual compared to what I've recently been experiencing. There was kind of
It felt surreal.
an awareness of that.
It
Now,
felt surreal.
okay, it very well could have been in your dream that you were completely unsurprised. You just jumped out of bed because hey, but you actually in your dream had, and this is kind of a lucid experience in a way, this idea of
Hmm.
having a completely normal waking up and getting out of bed experience that everyone does every day and no one stops to think this is strange. So you had this kind of comparison going on in your mind to what you'd been experiencing
Yeah.
recently and what you're experiencing in the dream. Did you have a sense
Hmm.
that it was a dream as you were getting up, or
Yeah. Yeah.
okay,
Because details of someone's face were foggy. Conversations didn't make any sense. So
okay,
I thought, okay, this has to be a dream. But I just felt, okay, I'm going to enjoy this. I'm not
fair enough.
gonna wake up anytime soon. I'm going to enjoy this.
This is fascinating to me too, because we've got, I asked you before, did you have a long history of lucid dreaming throughout your life? No. Now you're having one. Suddenly
Yeah.
something changed in your head. I mean, literally, physically, things changed in your head. You're on different
Hmm.
medications, all this stuff. But
At that time, I was no medication.
fair enough, fair enough. But I guess what I'm trying to say is that, to my knowledge, I've never had a lucid dream either. I think, pretty sure. But I don't know that I've heard or experienced any research or had anyone tell me or describe the idea that they had a physical brain event. They got hit on the head, they had a brain hemorrhage. Afterwards, they began lucid dreaming. Like, we don't know what causes it. What are the
Hmm.
prerequisites that allow someone biologically or psychologically to have lucid dreams? It's very poorly understood what that is. We do know that there is a somewhat of an ability to program your dreams, to have dreams about specific things. It seems to be more likely among people who report a history of lucid dreaming. So it's almost like they're already got an advantage on that. But you actually had this
Hmm.
brain hemorrhage thing that, it's no lucid dreams, hemorrhage, at least semi lucid dreams, where you're able to kind of compare dreaming to reality and to be aware this is surreal. I must be dreaming. That's the hallmark of lucid dreaming is you're like, oh, I'm dreaming. And you are. What is that? It's just an amazing thing.
But I couldn't fly. Couldn't get a Maserati in front of me. I was just doing every normal stuff, like walking around, feeling the wind on my skin. But I saw people, and I just thought, okay, you're foggy. You're not real. You're not real. But the conversations were unlike the one where I thought I can predict everything. It was. I can see that.
This one's name is CC.
What's his name?
CC. His full name is Cotton Candy. We call him CC for short. Letter C.
Oh, that's fine. I thought so.
And we got, I don't know, I got half a dozen more back here. We got Princess somewhere in there, and we got my dog Peanut Butter running around. It's the whole menagerie.
Yeah, I saw the dog jumping on the bed.
Yeah. Oh, he's your boy.
There he is.
He likes his belly rubbed, and then suddenly he doesn't, and then you get the claws. So I try to rub just a little.
Yeah.
Just a little. Hi.
Is it? Oh yeah, that's with cats.
Oh yeah. Okay, so we're at the point where you've woken up in bed, you've thrown your legs out, and you're standing up, and you're like, "Whoa, I can stand. I must be dreaming," and everything's working fine.
I didn't knew I was dreaming until I was walking the dog outside, where I saw people's faces moving by, and they were foggy, and the conversation I'd heard were a made-up language, like blah, 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 blah. I couldn't understand what they were saying.
Okay, so
that's when I knew, okay, this has to be.
More of the experience you had was just that initial moment of surprise of, I could walk okay, like this is unusual.
Yeah.
But it really hadn't registered for. Sometimes it takes multiple little things to add up for someone who's lucid dreaming to say, oh, okay, I'm in a dream. Then they get it. It does. Sometimes it's immediate. Sometimes it's shush. He wants me to throw his toys. we're gonna hope he doesn't bark too much. Okay, so at that moment you hadn't come to that full realization, but something felt off, different, unusual, surprised.
It were just as like you said. It were those small things, like
that added up.
Throwing my blanket off, throwing my legs out of bed, walking, standing up, feeling the vibration in my legs again.
Sorry.
And
animal interruption.
Stories.
Yeah, he's so cute. These are the real stars of the show. I just rambled to people on the internet until the pets are ready to make an appearance.
Yeah.
You got to sit down, boo-boo. You got to sit down. We're doing the thing. So did you do anything else in your room? I know you briefly looked around and said, I should clean up, and you decided not to. Anything else while you were in there?
I grabbed some shoes because I have, well, you can't see it, but I have a wall of shoes here. That's 18 pairs of Jordans, Yeezys.
Oh my goodness. Very stylish.
Yeah. Very stylish. So I grabbed one of those, put it on, went downstairs.
I'm the kind of guy that has basically two pairs of shoes. I've got sandals for the summertime when my feet are hot, and I've got Doc Martens for everything else. I wear one pair of shoes at a time. That's just me. I used to do that as well. But then I thought, okay, I really like these shoes. I call them the cookie shoes. Yeah.
And they're the Air Jordan Fearless. And I thought, okay, I need to have them, but they were 420 euros.
Jesus.
Which is like $450 or something.
Yeah. That's not cheap.
So I thought, okay, but I had to have them. So that's when my addiction started. It grew to be 19 pairs.
Fair enough.
I thought, okay, because, well, my uncles tell me you have a kind of attention value. In which case, every time someone gives you a compliment, that's $15 off the purchase price.
Fair enough.
And after you gain so many compliments, the shoes are free.
Right.
So,
well, I think everybody collects something. Some people collect compliments about, or pairs of shoes. I collect dreams. This is episode 84. It'll be of over the past year of all the people I've talked to. I hope to hit 1,000 someday, and then I'll really know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
But so you grabbed did you grab any particular pair of shoes? Did you go to in your dream, did you go to your wall of shoes and pick a pair? Which one did you pick?
I grabbed the cookie shoes, so the Air Jordan Fearless.
Okay. And are those, would you say
those are
those are
my
like your
favorite pair.
favorite pair? Yeah, yeah.
Those were my first pair, and are still my favorite pair.
Nice. Very cool. And then of course you nothing unusual about putting them on and walking out of the room.
Oh, well, I did think, okay, I'm walking out of the room, but I was already walking towards my wall of shoes. So I thought, okay, this is weird. But then putting them on and going, no, felt normal because I knew, okay, I can walk, so let's do it again.
Gotcha. And then you
So
walked out of your room and everything looked the same. This is in your dream. This is your house from real life.
yeah, this is my house in real life, and it was 11 a.m. So no one was upstairs. Everyone was minding their own business. I thought my parents were out because it was quiet. I was eating breakfast alone, like I do 90% of the time in
So you walked down the
weekends.
stairs and into the kitchen
Yep.
as you would, all normal. And did you
Into the
select
living room, and then to the left we have the kitchen.
okay. Did you select any particular breakfast?
Yeah, I got chocolate, not sprinkles, but those big chocolate. How do you call those?
Like Cocoa Puffs. I don't know if we call that in America. There's a
Maybe
lot
you
of
don't
different.
even have it.
There, yeah, you might have a brand we don't have,
Because,
but
okay, let's say you have, because we have sprinkles on bread, and
now by
there's
sprinkles, I
chocolate
think of the little
sprinkles.
rainbow, tiny little rainbow candy.
Those chocolate sprinkles. Those chocolate sprinkles you put on cupcakes. We put them on bread.
Okay, fair enough. Well, why wouldn't you? I mean, we put what butter and
It's
cinnamon
it's
and sugar
it's
on bread. Yeah.
it's amazing. It's going to be very expensive if you're in the USA because so tiny bottle is like $2 or something, and putting that on your bread, you're going
Yeah.
to empty the entire bottle. So it's a $2 breakfast. But in the Netherlands, it's a big container with a lot of it. So, but it was like uh, uh, a cube of chocolate, but it was very thin. I don't know the name. Sorry for my lack of English.
No, that's okay. This is what
But
you saw in your dream. Is this like a cube?
what I put on my bread. It was kind of more like a sheet of paper, and it was, let's say it was rectangular,
Almost like a slice
thin
of cheese,
chocolate.
but made of chocolate.
Yeah, but it was very little. It was like I think one fifth of the inch, 1/5 of an
Interesting.
inch.
And that is not something that exists in real life.
Yeah, that exists in real life.
It does. Oh, okay, fair enough. I
So
wondered if you were
it was my favorite. It was my favorite breakfast before everything. So I
okay.
thought, okay, I'm going to take that again, and I'm putting it on my bread, and it felt the same, tasted the same.
Okay.
After that, I thought, okay, I'm going to walk the dog.
Yeah. What was that experience like of going to interact with the dog, preparing to go out on a walk? What did you see or experience while that was happening?
Uh, Same as usual, actually. That at that time I didn't think it was a dream.
Mm-hmm.
I did think it was weird, but my dog is always trying to hypnotize me by
Yeah.
staring into my eyes, like zoom, zoom, zoom.
Yeah.
Go
Yeah.
take me for a walk. Go take me for. You want to take me for a walk? And so he was doing that. I stood up. He then runs to the front to the front door. I grabbed the leash, put it on him. He always pulls very hard on the leash when we go for a walk because he wants to sprint. I don't know why. Because when we sprint, he doesn't want to go sprint. And so I knew, okay, I'm putting it on. I'm stepping off of the wooden deck that we have out front onto the gravel, and then I took a left, and I walked my usual round.
And again, you stepped out of your house onto a deck that does exist in real life, and
Everything I told you existed.
yeah, just
Nothing in the
checking.
dream. Nothing in the dream is unusual. Nothing was out of place, except for the people's faces who were foggy and the distorted speech. Those were the two things. And,
Yeah.
well, the fact that I could walk.
Yeah, for sure.
Those,
So
those three things.
you said you kind of hopped off the deck and onto the gravel and you took a left, and that's normal. That's the path you would typically
Yeah.
walk with the dog.
Yeah, it's like, let's say, I need to convert this to feet. So it's about 7 feet or something, or 10 feet of gravel, walking straight. Then you take a left and you're on the bike lane. You have a sidewalk and a bike lane. And because, yeah, it's Netherlands, everyone has a bike.
Yeah. And do you live in a very densely populated city area or more residential?
Residential.
So more not a bunch of tall
I,
buildings, but more individual houses.
I live in the northern part of the Netherlands, which is farmers' country.
Gotcha. That's what I was saying.
So
Yeah, in America we'd say urban, suburban, rural, and then wilderness,
more suburban.
farmland. Yeah, suburban.
More suburban.
Gotcha. Okay.
But it's not like the houses are far apart.
Mm-hmm.
I just live in a community where the houses are far apart. But in
Gotcha.
most Dutch cities or Dutch towns, actually, I just learned it's not called a village, it's called a town. And I always called it the village, and I thought I was in 1800 or
Yeah.
1800, 1806 or something. I was like, okay,
A lot
village.
of those English terms, very interchangeable. Village, town.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I couldn't come up with the word town again because I just hadn't used it very often.
Mm-hmm.
And now I thought, okay, town is makes so much sense.
Oh yeah, and village does sound older, antiquated.
It does sound
like you're stepping
very old.
back
And
in time a little bit.
my town doesn't have, my town doesn't have city rights, as we call it, because in the old ages you need to get rights to call yourself a city.
Oh, gotcha.
It has 42,000 people living in this town.
Just a village,
but it's just a village.
All right.
With a chief and the chief's wife and a totem pole in the middle of the city.
Very cool. Yeah, that is interesting too. It's there's different things in America too, where it's like you can have a town, and a town's just an area where a certain number of people live, and maybe there's a general store and some habitable buildings. But then there's like actually incorporating into, say, a township or a city. And then you have city of, like, I live in the city of Portland, and it's huge. I think it contains most of the population of the state in Multnomah County, where I'm at here. And but the idea of there's towns that are unincorporated, and it's more a description of the area and what you would find there. Inhabited buildings versus the idea of incorporating into a township and having a government run. It's different. I can't explain it well because I don't understand it very well, but yeah, that's why we use a lot of these terms interchangeably. We even call Portland a town. It's a giant city, but we'll just call, P-town. We call it Portland. We call it a town.
People here call the city. Okay, I'm gonna pronounce this name. Don't try to say it, but because it's the typical Dutch name, it's very hard to say.
I'm listening.
Drachten.
Drachten. Am I close?
You said the G almost right. Yeah.
Okay, I'll take it. I won't try again.
Drachten.
We've got a very German guttural in there.
Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah, because acht in German is the same as acht in Dutch.
Nice. Very nice.
So
well, I mean, you guys are like right against each other, right? Border of Germany and Netherlands.
We are neighbors. So
exactly. Very cool. A lot of cross-cultural exchange there. Certainly in language, I bet you.
Yeah.
Very cool. Well, I'm big into the Latin and Greek from ancient times, but then the Latin went and on to become all the Romance languages in Europe and whatnot, and heavy influence on English and then American English. So I love understanding the roots of words, where they come from, what they originally meant, how larger words are built up of multiple smaller words that each mean their own little thing that then give that bigger word its own meaning and understanding. That's
I was once told that if you speak English and you're a native English speaker, that one of the easiest languages to learn, to write and stuff, is Dutch. Because the sentence structure is very similar. we use similar words and they have a similar tone and stuff.
Very cool.
So it was pretty easy for me to learn English.
Right on. Well, I'm glad you did. Otherwise, we wouldn't be talking. I've not learned Dutch.
No.
I thought I was going to learn Japanese at one point, but yeah, their structure, it was so different, and worse, I think, is Chinese, because of it's a tonal language, and you could say the same thing spelled M-A, and in America we would say, that's the word for mother, ma. M-A, ma, ma and pa, clamp it or whatever.
You say ma or you say ma.
Yeah, or you say ma. Oh, shit.
Yeah.
There's like seven different ways to pronounce
teacher,
one word.
The other one is called a pedophile, and the other one is called a small child. So
yes, depending on how you inflect that into that. I'm never going to do that. Once I realize that's forget it. Now, Japanese is a lot easier. But still, the conjugating, I even have a hard time conjugating in, say, like Spanish and whatnot, where it's not the red ball, it's the ball red. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Putting the modifier afterwards, it drives me crazy. I can't.
Exactly that. French is the same. So
yeah,
French has more exceptions to the rules than rules. It has so 1 + 1 = 2, except when it's 4 o'clock in the morning and there are birds chirping and you are sweaty, then it's 2 + 2 = 5, or 1 + 1 = 9. And you have to learn all those exceptions.
And it all depends on how much wine you had for breakfast.
Yeah.
or lunch. Sorry, they don't drink wine at breakfast. Lunch break, wine lunch break.
Oh, well, I don't know what French do.
I don't know either. I'm making it all up. We've insulted some French. Sorry.
Probably.
That's okay. They know it's all in good fun. Love you guys too. Okay, back to the dream though. So you took a left out of your house, and where did you go? What path did you follow?
I walked straight to the roundabout because I live next to a roundabout on the right side of my house. If I go left, I have one of the same houses where I have a little bit of a street with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 houses surrounding one road, and I just walked straight, and then eventually I'll hit another roundabout. I went left, and I just crossed the road. Before I turned left, I crossed the road, turned left, walked, and then eventually I walked straight until I crossed the road again.
Now all this time, you're seeing any other cars, other people? Not yet.
Yeah, I'm seeing cars, I'm seeing people.
Okay.
But like I told you, their faces are messed up and their speech is distorted.
So were you speaking to people you knew as you were walking, or?
I wasn't saying anything. I said hi to some people, but I didn't know anyone. So it was more like a friendly hi, and then they were speaking to each other.
Okay. But you noticed almost immediately faces kind of blurred or indistinct, and language verbally also garbled, not really coherent sentences.
No.
And is that when you kind of said, this has got to be a dream? It was kind of that moment.
This is yeah.
Okay.
Because it felt fake waking up and moving my legs, but I thought, okay, well, you know what? This could be. I don't know. I'm just thinking positively. Then when I saw the faces and heard the distorted speech, I thought, okay, yeah, this is fake.
Gotcha.
But I'm going to enjoy this and I'm going to live it to the fullest because I'm not going to get this when I wake up. Then I woke up and I was very depressed.
Yeah, that'll do it. Did you have a particular destination in mind, or did you reach a destination with your dog before you woke up?
No, I just did the round actually. And at some point, I don't remember.
Back at your house, or?
Don't remember when. I don't remember when it stopped. But I was walking around. I didn't even finish the round, I think. Well, the round takes 45 minutes to walk.
Gotcha.
So I was walking it. And eventually, I think 3/4 of the way is when I don't remember anything.
Okay. Fair enough. So it just kind of faded out. Do you know how soon after you realized it was a dream it faded out? Once you gained that kind of lucid awareness?
Immediately when I woke up, I thought, okay, this had to be a dream. Immediately
After you woke up.
after I woke up, because
But
I
the,
could clearly remember what was happening, and I woke and I was looking around again, and I knew, okay, I'm back in the hospital. I saw my wheelchair stand. Okay, I knew I couldn't move. Then I tried to move and I couldn't move again. So that's when I realized, okay, that was just an amazing dream.
okay.
I even told my parents about it.
So it wasn't actually necessarily in the dream, or it was both. It was in the dream. You're like, well, this is amazing. I'm just going to enjoy it. But then after
Yeah,
you woke up,
both.
okay, both. Gotcha. Good deal. Good deal.
Both, because okay, let's put it this way. When I realized it was a dream in the dream, and I thought, okay, this has to be fake. So I'm going to make the most of it. Just going to walk around, enjoy everything. And then I woke up and I realized, okay, that was a dream. Yeah, that was a dream.
I guess what I was trying to ask, and I'm not phrasing it very well because it's a new concept I'm trying to roll around in my head. It seemed to me like the end of the dream experience happened relatively soon after the lucid awareness came upon you that you were
Yeah.
having a dream. So something about gaining that insight in the dream might have led to ending the dream. Like, oh, I'm dreaming. Oh, and I'm falling out of the dream and I'm waking up. Or not. Maybe I'm
Right.
putting that on there.
It took, let's say, thinking it was real was about 20 minutes to an
Yeah.
hour. Then walking was another 20 minutes. Realizing it was a dream was during the walk, so during those 20 minutes. Then, if I were to walk three quarters of the way to my house again, that would have been another 20 minutes. So
So it did go on for a little bit longer.
it did go on for a little bit longer, and I was very enjoying it myself. But I wasn't doing anything normal. I wasn't robbing a bank. I wasn't hitting someone. I wasn't flying. I was just enjoying being able to walk again.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. And that is its own kind of thing too. Sometimes the things that are absent from the dream mean a lot too. This was so having gone back through it with me and focusing in on some of the details and expanding the story a little bit, did you have any insights or epiphanies or associations that came to your mind about any kind of meaning for the dream? I usually like to ask people first before I make suggestions.
Oh no! Well, I thought, okay, this has to be a sign that I'm going to walk again. So it just gave me a rush of motivation. I wanted to walk again. I wanted to try and walk again in real life because I knew I longed for that sensation, and I knew, okay, this has to be a sign. I am going to walk again.
Yeah. I mean, I would say that is what the further we got along in describing things and how mundane it was. And by mundane, I mean just normal. You weren't driving a Maserati.
Mm-hmm.
You weren't flying to the moon under your own Superman power.
No.
The idea that it was that it was all about, he really wants this pen. Get it. Get it. He's gonna slice me. Quit it. Be a good boy. Be a good boy. Yeah, the idea that it was just so normal seems to lean into the idea of it being aspirational, of it being motivational for you. And I think you hit on that very well, that idea that, shall we say that the pre-existing motivation and determination you had to succeed to reach, to make this dream a reality in real life, to achieve the ability to walk again and whatnot, most likely brought that up in your sleep to show you that commitment, that what is it? The belief, like the idea that you were certain it was going to happen. It would have been a very different dream if it had been you dreamt about a deterioration. You dreamt about a catastrophe that made your condition get worse. So what I'm struggling with a little bit myself is that there isn't a lot to go on here that isn't just very plain, that isn't just very much exactly what it is on the surface. It doesn't seem to have a lot of symbolism in the dream. It seems like everything is exactly what it is in that sense.
Yeah.
Sometimes these, go ahead.
I like that about it. That's what gave me the motivation to keep moving. It was like a halfway point. Like you started somewhere, and within those 6 months that I didn't improve a lot, it was like my brain giving me a hand saying, "Keep moving. You're in the right direction."
Yeah,
and I just love that about it.
That can be very powerful too. And this is one thing I won't do with dreams is tell people there's symbolism there that is not there. So when we get a dream like this and it's like, this appears to be exactly what it is, that's what I'm going to say. And I don't think this is as unusual as many people might think. One thing that I tell folks, and it seems to be true, is that dreams self-select for importance. The dreams you remember them because there's something in there you still want to understand or could benefit from. This one, and the fact that it was so mundane, so typical to real life, nothing supernatural, nothing special, nothing amazing beyond the walking, which was, not immediately apparent. I was going somewhere with that. The importance that it had for you had to be motivational. I'd love to hear from more people that have these kind of dreams where it's like, I would imagine most people don't remember these kind of dreams because it was just an enjoyable experience that allowed them to have something they want. And it didn't have a deeper message. But for you, what made this important enough to remember was the motivational power of it. Like, I'm showing myself what I can, and damn it, what I will accomplish. And you eventually did. I mean, you're back to walking again, and
I'm back to walking again, driving.
Nice.
I'm getting my driver's license next week. I'm riding a bicycle, running. I can do everything.
Nice. What, and that's amazing too. Cause I mean, you very well could have been talking to me from wheelchair. I would never know. I mean, I haven't seen you stand up, but I'm not asking you to, but I'm saying I would never know if you hadn't told me. So that in and of itself is amazing. Just
you can see my underwear.
Right. I'm not wearing pants either, shorts, but not pants. It's too hot. It's too hot here. What is it? Like 72 degrees. Jesus. I'm an old fat man, and 72 degrees is warm. I'm sweating in my garage here. So I got the fan on in the background.
Yeah, it's like 10 degrees Celsius right here, and it's 10:45 p.m. So 10:48 p.m.
Nighttime. How does that convert again? What is that? It's like 2.5. It's like 60 degrees Fahrenheit, somewhere around there. No.
Yeah, probably.
Not that much. No, it'd be much lower.
What's body temperature in Fahrenheit?
Body temperature in Fahrenheit, it should be 98.6, right?
And it was, then it's around 60, 50, somewhere in that range.
Okay, fair enough. Because the scale starts at a certain point as well, and I don't know the conversions very well at all.
No, so, I don't know them either.
Yeah, never mind. Forget it. We're not going to do that live. I'd have to look it up.
No.
Yeah, well, if you are satisfied with the understanding that we've reached, you don't think there's anything deeper to grasp at in it, we can call this one solved, so to speak.
Yeah.
Okay, good deal.
I'm satisfied. I thought I knew what I was getting into. I knew, okay, this is probably doesn't have a deeper meaning because every meaning it has is already apparent to me.
Seemed like
and it already helped me. So it was just me sharing my experience, and that's what I've done.
For sure. Yeah. And this can be fascinating too. I mean, sometimes you get into looking at a dream and there is not a lot more to it than is right there on the surface. I guess it would be fascinating. A lot of my conversation with you in this experience here has been trying to look at how your medical catastrophe you went through, the hemorrhage in the brain, has changed the way you might experience things. And it certainly in terms of dreams. And it does seem like it gave you something happened. Some switch was thrown, some wires crossed that allowed you to have that. Did you have since then more lucid dreaming experiences?
Nope.
Not since then. Just that
only
one?
when I could, only couldn't when I couldn't walk. I had like 3, 4
Yeah.
of the same experience of me walking again, and I knew when I awoke and I could walk again, I knew, okay, this is this dream again. I'm going to enjoy it. So that happened like 4 times, and then when I could walk again, it didn't happen again.
Gotcha. Yeah, and to have the recurrent nature of the dream. So I say this to a lot of folks too. When people have recurring dreams, it's very often for a reason. Of course it is, but that's only natural. But the idea of what it is we need to understand, or what it is we're trying to accomplish, that's the motivation for those dreams. Once we've achieved the understanding or accomplished the thing that we wanted to do, they tend to stop. Sometimes people have recurring dreams for years because the same issue keeps coming back. But for this one, it was very focused on your ability to get your physical body back under your own voluntary control. So, naturally, once you accomplish that, the purpose for the dreams, the need to express that motivation even to yourself in your sleep, went away. Mission accomplished. So,
yeah,
that's very cool. Your whole story is very inspirational, I think. And that's one thing I wanted to do. You were working on a book, you say? And so that's part of what the PayPal donations are for?
Yeah. So I'm working on my stories and the lessons I've learned, because being from suicidal to not improving is for 6 months to happy-go-lucky guy. I learned so many lessons on how to stay positive, how to know if you're improving, how to know if it's internal or external, which problems you're facing.
Yeah,
that's how to. And those lessons I would really want to teach those to people, but not everyone can come to my public speaking opportunities. In which case, I want to write a book for them to read.
Very cool. And I'm going to say that again. So this work. Wrap things up and let you get to bed. It's late in your neck of the woods. This has been Kai Smit from the Netherlands, and he is a brain hemorrhage survivor and public speaker, and he's working on this book. So you can make some donations to him at paypal.me/Kai. That's KAJN as in Nicholas Smit, SMIT, Kai N Smit, at paypal.me. And I really appreciate you being here. I've very much enjoyed hearing your story and how it's affected you, and going over the dream experience. Yeah, it's been good talking.
That's great.
Cool.
I love the talk and the analytics of you explaining stuff. I really appreciate it.
Thank you very much. I enjoy listening to myself talk, so we're both happy. Sorry.
Yeah.
I'll just say, hey, to everyone out there watching, please, would you kindly like, share, and subscribe? Tell your friends. Always need more volunteer dreamers. 13 books of historical dream literature. Get a t-shirt, coffee mug, etc., etc. And thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.